The men women never forget aren't the ones who try hardest. They're the ones who stop trying altogether. And that shift from chasing to being is where real magnetism begins. If you want to understand exactly how this works, stick around. And if you're not already subscribed, hit that button now, because what I'm about to show you changes everything. There's a secret embedded in how memory works. Women don't remember men based on effort or intensity. They remember them based on presence. And the moment you understand that, everything changes. Most men operate from the wrong assumption. They believe attraction comes from doing more, saying the right thing, perfecting the image, proving their worth constantly. But the opposite is true. The most unforgettable men are the ones who do less and exist more fully. Before we dive into the 6 shifts, you need to understand something fundamental about how human memory actually works. It's not about quantity. It's not about how many times you text her or how many dates you take her on. Memory is encoded through emotional intensity and psychological safety combined. Think about your own life for a moment. You probably remember the person who made you feel truly seen more vividly than the person who showered you with attention. You remember the moment someone stayed calm when you thought they'd leave more clearly than 1,000 moments of desperate reassurance. That's because our brains are wired to remember moments of contrast, authenticity, and emotional truth. A woman's memory works the same way. She forgets the men who try too hard because trying too hard is common. It's what every insecure man does. But she remembers the man who didn't need to try because he was already complete. That's rare, and the brain is designed to encode rare things. There's a neuroscientist named James McGaugh who studied how memories become permanent. He found that emotional arousal is the catalyst. But here's what most people miss. The arousal isn't about excitement or passion. It's about surprise. It's about encountering something unexpected. When a woman expects a man to crumble and he stays grounded instead, that's neurological surprise. When she expects him to chase and he simply exists, that's memorable. When she expects drama and finds peace, her brain labels that moment as significant and stores it deeply. This is why the most unforgettable men aren't the loudest or the most attentive. They're the ones who operate from a completely different framework. They've already decided that their worth isn't negotiable. They're not trying to convince anyone of anything. They're simply being themselves, which is infinitely more powerful than any performance could ever be. Most men spend their entire lives reacting. Something happens and they respond immediately, defensively, desperately. She says something cutting and he scrambles to explain himself. She pulls away and he chases harder. She tests him and he fails every time because he's operating from a place of fear. Fear that he's not enough. Fear that she'll leave. Fear that silence means rejection. This is the trap that destroys most relationships before they even begin. A stoic man operates from a completely different architecture. He doesn't broadcast his thoughts like they're urgent announcements demanding immediate attention. He doesn't perform reactions to prove he's invested or that he cares. He observes first. When a moment arrives that would cause most men to panic, he pauses. He takes a breath. He creates space between stimulus and response. And in that space, he finds power. This is emotional silence, and it's the foundation of everything that follows. Picture this. You're with a woman you care about. She's had a bad day. Instead of being present with you, she's distant. She snaps at you over something small. A normal man panics. He immediately tries to fix it. He apologizes for nothing. He asks what's wrong repeatedly. He tries to make her happy. He's seeking reassurance that she still loves him. A stoic man does something different. When she snaps, he doesn't react. He doesn't get defensive. He doesn't try to prove anything. He simply acknowledges her mood with a slight nod and continues what he's doing. He might say, "Sounds like you're dealing with something. I'm here if you need me." And then he lets it go. He doesn't wait for her to open up. He doesn't check in constantly. He trusts that she'll come to him when she's ready. That silence is magnetic, not because it's cold or cruel, but because it communicates something rare. I am not threatened by this moment. My stability doesn't depend on your mood or your approval. When she tests you with sharp words, when she tries to provoke a reaction, when she pulls back to see if you'll chase, a stoic man doesn't fight. He doesn't prove his worth or defend his position. He simply remains still. He looks at her directly. He says nothing, or perhaps very little. And that silence is magnetic because it communicates something incredibly rare in a world of desperate men. I am not threatened by this moment. My stability doesn't depend on your approval. Most people have never experienced that kind of steadiness from another person. They've only known reactivity. Men who crumble under pressure. Men who need constant reassurance. Men who lose themselves when someone pulls away. So when she encounters a man who doesn't collapse, something shifts in her nervous system at a fundamental level. She stops perceiving you as a threat to her stability. Instead, you become the source of it. This is crucial to understand. Emotional control is not coldness. It's not indifference or withdrawal. A cold man is still reacting. He's just reacting with distance. A stoic man is different. His silence comes from peace, not from fear or punishment. There's a warmth underneath it, an acceptance, a presence that says, I'm here, I see you, and nothing you do will shake my foundation. When she realizes you won't collapse when things get tense, when she tests you, and you don't lose yourself begging for reassurance, something fundamental changes in how her body responds to you. The nervous system recognizes safety, not the false safety of someone who agrees with everything or sacrifices himself for her, but the real safety that comes from being near someone who is genuinely okay. That's when she begins to relax around you. That's when she stops performing. That's when real connection becomes possible. Because she's no longer managing your emotions or worrying about triggering your insecurity. She can finally just be. And that peace you bring her, she will never forget where she found it. Everyone talks. The whole world is talking at once. Podcasts, social media, notifications, conversations overlapping, people interrupting each other, everyone desperate to be heard. We live in an age of unprecedented noise. And in that noise, listening has become a superpower. But very few people actually listen. Real listening. Not the kind where you're waiting for your turn to speak. Not the kind where you're already formulating your response while the other person is still talking. Not the kind where you're half listening while checking your phone or thinking about what you need to do next. Real listening is presence. It's the absence of agenda. It's genuine curiosity about another human being. A man who listens like this becomes unforgettable because he's practically invisible in a world drowning in noise. When she speaks, your phone is gone. Not just on silent, gone. Out of sight. Your mind is quiet. You're not planning your response. You're not waiting to tell your own story. You're absorbing meaning. You're reading between the lines. You're noticing the emotion underneath her words. That presence, that genuine curiosity about who she actually is, creates an intimacy that sex can't replicate. Sex is physical. Listening is psychological and emotional. Sex fades. Listening builds. Think about the last time someone truly listened to you. Not just heard you, but really listened. Remember details you mentioned in passing. Asked follow-up questions that showed they were genuinely interested. Didn't interrupt. Didn't make it about themselves. Didn't try to fix your problems. Just sat with you in your experience. How did that make you feel? Did you feel seen? Did you feel valued? Did you want to be around that person more? That's exactly what happens when you listen to a woman like this. Most men make the mistake of thinking that listening means being passive. They think it means letting her talk while they sit there quietly. But true listening is active. It's attentive. It's engaged. Your body language says you're present. Your eyes stay on her. You nod occasionally. You ask clarifying questions. You remember what she said last week and bring it up naturally. When she talks about something that matters to her, you don't immediately offer solutions. You don't try to minimize her concerns or make her feel better too quickly. You acknowledge what she shared. You ask deeper questions. What was that like for you? How did that make you feel? What do you think you'll do about it? These questions show you're interested in her inner world, not just her surface. And that's where real connection lives, in the inner world. In the hidden thoughts and feelings that most people never share because they've never felt safe enough. When someone feels truly heard, they feel seen. And being seen by another human being is something people will remember for years. Years. Not months. Not weeks. Years. A woman will remember the man who listened to her more vividly than the man who bought her expensive gifts. Because listening is intimate in a way that material things can never be. Listening says, I value you as a person. Listening says your thoughts and feelings matter. Listening says, I'm not trying to change you or fix you. I'm trying to understand you. And that kind of understanding creates a bond that's difficult to break. This is where most men fail completely. They cling, they beg, they try to force understanding or closure. They can't let go because they've attached their entire identity to the relationship. They believe that if she leaves, they're failing. If the relationship ends, it means they weren't good enough. So they stay. They apologize for things they didn't do wrong. They sacrifice their boundaries. They compromise their values. They become smaller versions of themselves, hoping that if they just become small enough, undemanding enough, invisible enough, maybe she'll stay. And it never works. A stoic man understands something fundamental. Some things are meant to end. Some people aren't meant to be in your life. Some relationships reach their natural conclusion, and try to force them beyond that point only creates suffering. When something is empty or unfair, when the dynamic has become toxic or one-sided, a stoic man doesn't fight. He doesn't try to convince her to stay or to see things his way. He simply walks, not in anger, not in punishment, not in bitterness, but in peace. He says, I wish you well, and he means it, and then he leaves. That moment when she expected drama and found dignity instead, that moment haunts her, because she's used to men who fight, who plead, who lose themselves, men who become desperate, men who make threats or manipulate, men who can't handle rejection. But you didn't. You kept yourself. You didn't shatter. You didn't break down. You didn't try to control the outcome. You just let her go. And that kind of strength is something she can't forget. Not because she necessarily wants you back, but because she's never experienced a man like that before. A man who loves her enough to let her go. A man who values his peace more than he values keeping her around at any cost. This is the inverse of what most men think. Most men think that holding on is love. They think that staying and fighting is loyalty. But a stoic man knows better. He knows that sometimes the most loving thing you can do is step away. Sometimes the bravest thing is to walk. And here's what's interesting about this dynamic. When a woman realizes that you're willing to leave, that you're not dependent on her staying, something shifts in how she sees you. You become more attractive, not less, because you've demonstrated the ultimate form of self-respect. It's counterintuitive, but it's true. The man who can walk away is the man she'll pursue. Not because she's trying to win him back, necessarily, but because she finally sees him as someone of value. Someone with standards. Someone who won't accept less than he deserves. That's power. Real power. Your existence doesn't revolve around getting her attention. This is fundamental. Not just in theory, but in practice. Your actual life, your actual days, your actual energy, they're directed toward building something meaningful. You have a mission. You wake up with direction. You're building something, a business, a skill, a body, a craft. You're learning something, philosophy, languages, history. You're becoming something, more disciplined, stronger, wiser. When she realizes that your world doesn't collapse without her, that you don't need her to feel complete, something fundamental changes in how she sees you. Most men make the mistake of thinking that a woman wants to be the center of his universe. That's not true. A woman wants to be important, yes, but not at the cost of his own development. She actually respects a man more when he has his own thing going on, when he's not constantly seeking her validation or her time or her attention. purpose is magnetic because it communicates certainty. A man with direction knows where he's going. He's not drifting. He's not waiting for someone else to give his life meaning. He's creating meaning on his own terms. And women are drawn to certainty because certainty feels safe. A man with purpose is stable. He won't become needy or clingy. He won't lose himself. He won't wake up one day realizing he abandoned his dreams for a relationship. He's not looking for someone to complete him because he's already whole. She can't distract you from your path, which means she has to earn her place in it. She has to become someone worth prioritizing. And that dynamic, where she's earning her place rather than having it given to her, changes everything about how the relationship develops. That's power, real power, not the kind where you're controlling her or manipulating her, but the kind where you're so grounded in your own life that you're genuinely okay either way, with her or without her. And that okayness is attractive in a way that desperate pursuit can never be. Most relationships implode because they're built on highs and lows. Passionate arguments followed by passionate make-up sex. Jealousy and reassurance. Tension and resolution. Drama and reconciliation. It feels intense. It feels alive, but it's exhausting. It's unsustainable. And eventually, one person gets tired of the emotional roller coaster. A stoic man brings something different, consistency. His energy doesn't swing wildly based on external circumstances. He doesn't escalate during conflict. He doesn't need conflict to feel connected. He doesn't create drama to feel alive. His energy is like finally taking a breath after suffocation. When she's with you, the world quiets. She doesn't have to manage your emotions. She doesn't have to worry about what mood you'll be in. She doesn't have to tiptoe around your insecurity. She can be herself. She can rest. And that rest is rare. Most people live in a constant state of low-level anxiety, checking their phones for messages, worrying about where they stand, unsure if they've done something wrong. With you, there's none of that. There's just peace. Emotional stability doesn't mean being boring or emotionless. It means being reliable. It means that your emotional state doesn't depend on her behavior. It means that you have enough self-awareness to manage your own emotional experience instead of expecting her to do it for you. Think about the men in her past. Probably some who were moody and she had to manage them. Some who were volatile and she had to walk on eggshells. Some who were needy and she had to constantly reassure her. She's tired. She's exhausted. And then she meets you. You don't need her to make you happy. You're already okay. You're not trying to get a reaction from her. You're not testing her or playing games. You're just steady, grounded, present. And once a woman connects you with peace, true peace, not avoidance, but actual emotional solidity, she never forgets you. Because peace is rarer than passion, and people never forget where they found it. This is the final marker of an unforgettable man. This is where mastery reveals itself completely. When she wrongs you or the situation collapses, you don't seek revenge or hold resentment. You don't bring it up later in arguments. You don't use it as leverage. You don't gossip about it to friends. You let it go, not because you're weak, but because holding on to poison only destroys you. A stoic man knows this intimately. He understands that bitterness is a weight he carries alone. That resentment is a cage he locks himself into. That revenge is a fantasy that never actually heals anything. So he forgives silently, not by announcing it or expecting gratitude, just by letting it go, by recognizing that whatever happened, happened. It can't be changed, and the only thing holding on to it does is poison his own peace. When she realizes you're not keeping score, not waiting for payback, not carrying anger, that's when something shifts in her respect for you. Because forgiveness at that level requires a strength most people don't have. It requires choosing your peace over your pain. Most people can't do this. Most people hold grudges. They bring up old wrongs. They use past mistakes as ammunition in current conflicts. They can't forgive because they're still wounded. And they won't heal because healing requires forgiveness. But a stoic man is different. He's done his own internal work. He's learned to separate his ego from events. He's learned that what someone does to him says nothing about his worth. It says something about where they were when they did it. And with that understanding comes the ability to forgive. Not because what she did was okay, but because holding on to it benefits no one, least of all himself. That's strength. That's mastery. And that's unforgettable. Here's what happens when all these shifts align. You become someone she can't unsee. Not because you chased her, but because you mastered yourself. Not because you performed, but because you were real. Not because you needed her, but because you belong to yourself completely. This is the paradox that most men never understand. The moment you stop trying to be unforgettable, you become unforgettable. Because authenticity is rare. Presence is rare. Emotional stability is rare. A man who doesn't lose himself trying to win someone else. That's the rarest thing of all. Think about all the men she's known. The ones who performed. The ones who pretended. The ones who changed themselves to be what they thought she wanted. The ones who sacrificed their own lives and identities for the relationship. And none of them became unforgettable. They just became invisible. But you're different. You stayed yourself. You built your own life. You maintained your own boundaries. You didn't perform for her approval. You didn't need her validation to feel complete. And that consistency, that authenticity, that self-respect, that's what she remembers. Long after the messages fade and the emotions settle, she'll still carry the imprint of a man who chose peace over pride. A man who chose purpose over attention. A man who chose truth over reaction. She might date other men. She might even marry someone else. But somewhere in the back of her mind, she'll remember you. Not with longing necessarily, but with clarity. She'll remember what it felt like to be around someone who was genuinely okay. Someone who didn't need anything from her. Someone who brought peace instead of chaos. And that memory will shape her future relationships. It will set a standard. It will make her less willing to accept less than she deserves. Because she'll know what real strength looks like. She'll know what real peace feels like. She'll know what an unforgettable man actually is. That's not manipulation. That's mastery. And mastery is unforgettable. If this resonates with you, subscribe to Untold Realities for more on Stoic philosophy, emotional sovereignty, and the psychology of real strength. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. And if you've made it this far, comment, "I finished," so I know who's serious about this transformation. The journey from being a man who chases to being a man who simply is. That's the transformation that changes everything. Not just in your romantic relationships, but in every area of your life. When you stop performing and start being. When you stop seeking validation and start building value. When you stop running from yourself and start becoming yourself. That's when you become unforgettable. Thank you for being here. Now, go build something that makes you unforgettable on your own terms.